Hi everyone. Today I just want to chat with you about your goals articulation process. So goals is the first step in the Goberdim design process, and it's a really important step, but it's also really important not to get stuck here because your goals are going to change and evolve as you continue to collect information throughout the design process. So again, the Goberdim is somewhat linear to help you create a container for your ideas, but also, it goes and it loops back and it goes forward and it loops back. And remember that there's sort of a spiral pattern here that we are emulating with our design process. So if at any point you get stuck and you feel like, oh, I don't have enough information for this right now, that's totally fine. Just jump forward to the next step and then circle back. That's how this works. So that being said, I just want to real quick explain this 4-step goals articulation process that we're presenting here. So the first step is your stakeholder interviews. And basically the stakeholders is everybody, every living creature affected by your site. Since you can't directly interview the non-human species or anyone who doesn't speak the same language as you, then you have to rely on observation and science and intuition and theory and all of these different ways of collecting information for interviewing the non-human stakeholders. But for your human stakeholders, you can really just sit down and interview them and ask them questions about why they're involved and what they want out of this project and how they feel about it. There's so many different types of questions you can ask, and that's going to really depend on your site. So we're going to give you a couple examples and then encourage you to create your own stakeholder questionnaire. And as a designer, this is a really important part of the process, that you don't just look at these templates and copy them, but that you use them for inspiration. You might copy a lot of questions out of them, but also be adding and evolving your own questions dependent on your site-specific circumstances. So that's the first step. The second step is your design thesis or vision statement, or some people call this a quality of life statement. I really like the term design thesis because it implies that you are taking a very systematic and scientific approach to the project, which is what I encourage and want you to do, is to really look at the data and look at the logic and go with your ideas and your intuitions and think about that stuff. And the emotional aspects are really important here, but also to never ignore the science and the data. We want to use all the tools in the toolbox, and our design thesis helps articulate how we're going to do that and why. So step 3 of this process is taking these big fantasies and ideals and synthesizing them down into a handful of smarter goals. So I'm not going to go through each single step of the smarter process. It's mostly self-explanatory, but the idea is to get tangible. So instead of grow food for my family, that's going to turn into grow X pounds of food each year for this many people. Or instead of, be more sustainable, really try to articulate that in terms of tangible numbers. And that's going to make it a lot easier to later evaluate and see if you've accomplished those goals. It's also going to make it easier to articulate those goals to other people and be very clear on what you're proposing to them. So go through and make your smarter goals. And again, if you get some good drafts going on, that's fine for now. We're still at the beginning of the process. Don't obsess over any one part of this. And then move into step 4, which is establishing your feedback loops and creating a container to receive more information throughout the future. You don't just do the stakeholder interviews once and then walk away from those people. You're always interacting with them, and their goals and their needs and their desires and the things that they're interested in are going to change, especially if there's children involved, of course, because they're going to grow and what they need and want is going to change fairly regularly. And you as well, as you grow older. So think into the future. Don't obsess over the details and just try to create a finite list of goals that you can include in this project right now. This is a really good time to reiterate that this is a practice design for you. So the process that we're walking you through is the process that we want you to learn and practice, but you don't have to cover everything in the document for this course. So just try to practice, and we'll see you soon, and let us know if you have any questions.